What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Jon Jones wants reparations after learning about USADA change. Former UFC light heavyweight kingpin Jon Jones wants his 2017 no contest against Daniel Cormier to be officially changed to a win after the California State Athletic Commission voided his original win due to a PED failure for a turinabol metabolite. Jones took to Twitter with a screenshot of a post that said he should get reparations for his USADA suspension after the testing agency ruled that tests with under 100 picograms per milliliter were no longer considered positive tests. As the post in the screenshot pointed out, Jones's failure wouldn't be recognized under the new rules. Jones followed up the tweet with another one where he claimed that he felt officially cleared in the scandal. From the looks of things, however, the change made by USADA in regard to what is considered a positive result was actually made back in 2019, amid Jones continuing to fail drug tests around that time. After winning the interim light heavyweight title by defeating OSP in 2016, Jones was stripped of the title after testing positive for 2 banned substances prior to his title unification bout with Daniel Cormier. When the two clashed in 2017, Jones's win was overturned after he had trace amounts of turinabol in his system. Jones then also popped leading up to his UFC 232 rematch with Alexander Gustafsson, as well as leading up to his UFC 235 clash with Anthony Smith. At the time, it was claimed that the failures were the result of a trace amounts in his system from prior failures, given that he also passed tests leading up to UFC 235. Several months after the March 2019 showdown with Smith and the controversy that came with Jones's continued PED failures, USADA announced revisions to their anti-doping policy in November of 2019 that Jones seemed to have been made aware of now. While Jones gears up for his upcoming heavyweight title clash against Ciryl Gane, it'll be interesting to see whether he mentions his desire to have the no contest overturned to a win during any of his media obligations over the course of fight week. Israel Adesanya talks upcoming rematch with Alex Pereira. As the old saying goes, styles make fights. For example, Israel Adesanya proved himself to be the kryptonite to Robert Whittaker, who has defeated everyone the UFC has put in front of him since the summer of 2014, with the exception of Adesanya. With the last stylebender gearing up for his rematch with Alex Pereira at UFC 287, many have questioned whether the matchup between he and former 2-division glory kickboxing champ is simply a bad stylistic matchup thanks to Pereira's size. While some speculated as to whether or not the former champion would look to bulk up for the rematch, Adesanya shot down the talk, saying,
"If you want to do that, you need time, and I don't like having too much time off like that. Like, it's not for me. You know, a lot of guys, they'll fight once a year, twice a year. That's not me. I'd stay active. I roll the dice, and yeah, I don't need to do that. I feel like I can get the guy. I almost have the guy every time, so I know exactly what to do to get the guy."
With the rematch just over 6 weeks away, how do you see things playing out? Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush set for UFC 288. Former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira officially has a date set for his return to the octagon. After losing his title to Islam Makhachev at UFC 280, Oliveira will now meet streaking contender Beneil Dariush in a highly anticipated fight at UFC 288 on May 6. The fight has been a hot topic in discussions surrounding the lightweight division in recent weeks, with the winner of the fight likely earning a crack at Islam Makhachev after his recent successful title defense. Oliveira took to Instagram to react to the fight, saying that he's hungry and ready to hunt. The card is also expected to play host to the bantamweight title clash between Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo, which will see Triple C return from retirement. However, the fight has yet to be finalized. With the stakes high in the lightweight division, do you think Charles Oliveira will be able to emerge victorious and secure himself another crack at the title? Or will Beneil Dariush continue his stretch of dominance? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love, and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Henry Cejudo sends a message to Sean O'Malley. Although Triple C, Henry Cejudo, and Aljamain Sterling have both verbally agreed to a fight on May 6 at UFC 288, Cejudo isn't convinced that the Funkmaster follows through. He spoke in a recent video questioning the claims Sterling made on his own YouTube video, where he said that the fight was on for UFC 288 and all that was left for both fighters was to put ink to paper.
But is Aljamain Sterling, is he ready? Does he really want that smoke? Because quite frankly, guys, I really don't think Aljamain Sterling wants that smoke. So at the same time, the only thing that I could say to Sean O'Malley, stay ready, stay prepared.
Of course, with Sean O'Malley being the division's #1 contender, he's continued to find his name in title talks. In recent months, as Sterling's bicep injury has put the fight with Cejudo into question, O'Malley has remained the third fighter in the triangle. While he would likely sit and wait to cash in on his opportunity to face the winner should a Cejudo vs Sterling fight get finalized, if it doesn't, he may just find himself locking horns with the former 2-division champ. How do you see things playing out? Will Sterling and Cejudo clash at UFC 288 like the Funkmaster says, or will Triple C end up fighting Sugar Sean O'Malley? Drop your predictions below. The UFC cuts 3 fighters. This week, the UFC released 3 fighters, including William Knight, who found himself on the receiving end of considerable criticism this past weekend after his lopsided unanimous decision loss to Marcin Prachnio saw him lose his 3rd straight fight. Throughout the course of the fight, Knight seemed unwilling to engage, resulting in his opponent picking him apart from range over 3 rounds and battering his legs. After the fight, fans joked online that UFC President Dana White was going to release Knight at the start of the post-fight press conference. Although Knight took responsibility for freezing up on social media, his 3-fight skid was enough for him to receive his walking papers. In addition, middleweight Jordan Wright found himself cut by the promotion after losing a unanimous decision to Zach Polga on the same card. The loss made it 4 straight for Wright, who went just 2-5 in the promotion after a no contest on Dana White's Contender Series in 2018. Last but certainly not least, the promotion parted ways with women's bantamweight Lena Landsberg, who suffered her 4th straight loss on the Andrade vs Blanchfield card this past weekend. After the submission loss, Landsberg's UFC record sat at just 4-7, resulting in the promotion giving the striker her walking papers. Fight community reacts to Dustin Poirier slapping troll at Mardi Gras parade. UFC lightweight Dustin Poirier was seen enjoying the Mardi Gras festivities in Louisiana recently when a fan approached a Jeep carrying him in the back with a sign that said, "Hey Dustin, your wife's in my DMs," a reference to Conor McGregor's pre-fight trash talk. After the man smiled and showed the sign off to the camera, he then proceeded to approach the Jeep carrying Poirier and flash the sign. The Diamond was then seen slapping him and trying to exit the vehicle. Fortunately for the troll, he escaped any further repercussions for the stunt. The fight community was quick to react to the video on social media, with many praising Poirier for slapping the man, given the fact that he essentially went out of his way to instigate a confrontation with the former 2-time title challenger. As Adrian Yanez pointed out, many are becoming too comfortable with being disrespectful to professional fighters. Jack Shore agreed with Yanez, saying that there's a tremendous difference between real life and the internet. As many have also pointed out, Poirier and his family have done a tremendous amount of charity work in Louisiana through his Good Fight Foundation. The organization raises money for charitable causes by auctioning his gear after fights and has been credited with making a big difference in the area. So far, no word yet on whether or not the man will attempt to use the slap as grounds for pressing charges on Poirier or for filing a lawsuit against the pro fighter. From the sounds of things, regardless of how things play out, the MMA community has Dustin Poirier's back. What did you make of the situation? Should Poirier have had more self-control as some have claimed, or did this troll get what was coming to him? Thanks so much for joining us today. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA Zone. See you next time.